Welcome to clickmyproject.com. Let me discuss about Daniel of Service Defense through Web Referrals using graphs. Here, web is a complicated graph called site graph. In the web server allows only the privileged client in order to prevent the web page from DDoS attack. There is some trouble to find the privileged client. In this, we use an IP value to find the privileged client and to avoid the DDoS attack. In data flow, the client requests a web page. This request has to send to the source. Then the source forward the request to the third-party server. The third-party server generates the block list and it checks the IP value of the client. Afterward, it gets the target server IP and then it generates the MAC value for the client IP. Then the request is sent to the target server. Here it validates the MAC value and it provides the granting access. Let me start the execution of the program. First we have to run the source. In source, first we click the ready button. The source will be started and it waiting for the client request. And we have to run in the user app. Here give the client details like, and then give the destination IP value. And then give the destination port value and then the requested page and then click the request to send. Here the source will be receive the request. After that, run the next client. Here give the user name and then the client IP, client port number, MAC value, and then OS name, and then the destination IP. And then the destination port value and then the requested page, and then click the request to send button. In source, the request will be received here. Run the third client and give the client name and then the IP value, port number, MAC value, OS name, and then destination IP. And then give the destination port value and then requested page and then click the request to send button. The request will be received from the source. Afterwards, running the user D. In user D, giving the user name then client IP, port number, MAC value, OS name, and then the destination port value. And then destination port value, requested page, and then click the request to send button. The request will be received by the source. Here click the request forward button. The request will be sent to the third party server. In third party server, click the request received button. The request will be received here. Here we have to validate the client IP values. In third-party server, click the validate button. It shows the blocked IP or privileged IP. After that, we have to click the whitelist. It produces the privileged client list and the unprivileged client list, and then click the process button. It shows the privileged IP list and blocked IP list. Here click the MAC value. Here it shows the message box like MAC value sent to target, and then click the send to target button. Here we have to go to the target server and then click the received button. Here the user list has to be received here. Here click the generate MAC. The MAC value has to be generated, and then click the validate button. It shows the privileged client, and then here click the send response. The response will be sent here, and then it shows the message box like response sent finished. After that, and validate the next client. Select the IP value and port number and the requested page, and then generate the MAC value for that, and then validate the MAC value. It shows the message box like privileged IP, and then click the send response again. The response will be sent to the respected person, and then the response is finished. Now we have to get the privileged IP to grant permission to the privileged validate IP only. After validate each client in target server, we get the response message from the target to each client. Here the client name has to be John. Here receive the response, it shows the underprivileged client, so the John has to be unprivileged client, so it won't allow to permit to visit the www.gmail.com. After that we have to see the next client. The next client is user B. Here it received the response message, so the username has to be Kala. He's a privileged client, so it permit to visit the www.google.com. After that the next client is user C. Here get the response message. The Jack, he's an unprivileged client, so it won't allow to permit to visit the yahoo.com. After that the last client, who is the Valar. Here the response has to be received. He is a privileged client, so it permit to visit the www.ymail.com. So in such way we have to get the permissions from each client through the target server. We avoid the unprivileged client through this method. Thank you.